You will no longer stand between me and my destiny.
But I will.
And the Masters of the Universe. I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!" Cringer became the mighty Battle Cat, and I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko. Together, we defend Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor.
Welcome to another episode of I Have the Power, a He-Man podcast. As always, I'm your host, Adam, and with me is my co-host, Chris. Chris, how's it going?
Man, I am pumped to talk about some He-Man. How are you doing, Adam?
I'm doing well. We are currently in the middle of July, which means that the release of Masters of the Universe Revelation is just short of a week away. So I'm just as pumped as you are because finally we're going to see what this thing is all about. What we're going to talk about tonight, it's all Masters of the Universe Revelation related. We're going to talk about our thoughts on the trailer, and then we're going to talk about issue 1 of the prequel comic titled Masters of the Universe Revelation number 1 from Dark Horse Comics.
Yes, indeed.
Or is it Dark Horse Entertainment? I can't remember. But either way, people know what I'm talking about. But so, Chris, you've seen the trailers. We had a teaser and the story trailer. So, tell me, what are some of your thoughts?
First thought, the animation is fantastic. It looks so good. I'm just talking about visually the way it looks. It's taken the original style of the 80s and updated it with modern animation, but it doesn't look fake. I don't know if I'm using the right word there, but it looks like somebody put 1984 Superman through a rendering machine that shot it out in 2021, and I just can't get enough of it. Yeah.
I know. I understand what you mean. It's very much like I said. I may have said it last issue. It really is a blend of the 80s cartoon and the 2000 reboot.
You know, the one thing this trailer, the story trailer did that makes me so happy and excited is that my son watched it, Luke, who is 6 years old. He knows absolutely nothing about He-Man because he won't get into the old Masters of the Universe cartoon. The animation style is just too old for him. He won't do it. But after this trailer, he's been asking me, like, Daddy, when does He-Man come out? So he's excited for it, which makes me even more excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. Interesting regarding the story trailer. You get a sense that right off the bat, you get a sense that things have gone real bad in Eternia. You know, magic is gone, according to, I guess it was it was Evil-Lynn in the opening narration, right? Or was it?
You're correct.
Yeah. And she talked about magic being gone, and you see, you hear and see Tila talking to Prince Adam about how, I was never one to believe in magic, and now you're telling me we need it back to survive whatever it is that's going on. And so they've really set up the stakes right away. That things are so bad that the forces of good and evil, or at least part of them, have to unite, right? And so it makes you think, how, like, for these characters to have to come together, how insane and how terribly powerful has Skeletor gotten, that this is now where we are. Like that they have to team up. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, this is the first time we're seeing the animation paired with most of the voices. How perfect does Sarah Michelle Gellar sound as Tila? Like, it just seems like a perfect match. The voice and
I think it's right on, man. You're right, because the last trailer was mostly it was cut to that song, I Need to Hear.
Yeah.
This trailer has a lot more of the character voices in it. The one that I was disappointed to not hear was Jason Mewes as Stinkor.
Yeah, that would have been
but
fun.
it is the first time we ever see Stinkor in live action, because he was just a toy back in the 80s. He was
animation. You mean? Yeah.
So I flipped my lid when I saw Stinkor in action. I was like, no way.
Yeah, for sure. The funny thing is, for me, is as Tila was talking, I never once thought, oh, that's Buffy. My mind never clicked that it was one and the same. I mean, I knew it was, because obviously Sarah Michelle Gellar, but in that moment, my mind didn't go, oh, it's Buffy. But it just is like, yeah, that's Tila. And I just carried on my merry way, enjoying the trailer. We did get a bit of a sense of Battlecat speaking.
A sense of what?
We got Battlecat speaking, I think. Or was it Cringer? It was Cringer, right?
Oh, yeah, it was Battlecat, I think.
Okay. But either way, it doesn't sound like... It was like a hybrid of like, it wasn't too... he wasn't too afraid, and he wasn't too fierce. It was like he was in between. It's like he's in between Cringer mode and Battlecat mode. Because there were two I remember from the original cartoon, it was two very distinct, inflections. When it was Cringer, it was, it was as if he had just walked out of a horror movie,
Yeah, Cringer always sounded like frightened or scared of or anxious.
Yeah, and then Cringer would roar, and sound more menacing. Or sorry, Battlecat. But here it was like he was more of that in between. It's kind of like the way I equate Cringer and Battlecat is like the way Christopher Reeve portrayed Clark Kent and Superman. Like, it was two different extremes. But like, if I had to compare, if I had to stick with the Battlecat and Superman comparison, when we hear Battlecat here, it's kind of like Clark Kent on the farm. Like, he's not Superman, but he's not Clark Kent either. It's that middle ground. Does that comparison make sense, or am I just pulling things out of my...
No, I think you're right on.
Okay, all right. But yeah, so I thought that voice was interesting. What did you think of of Chris Wood as both Prince Adam and He-Man, because that was a big,
Yeah, I thought he sounded good as both, and that's a testament to his voice acting, because he's technically playing, although they're the same person, he's playing two different characters.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought it came across really well.
Agreed. And I love the whole look of the way they do the transformation. That to me is looks pretty awesome. I'm just blown away how good it looks. And then Mark Hamill as Skeletor again.
Perfect.
Just phenomenal. I just want to bring up quickly. There is this group of fandom on online that is convinced, and I'm using their terminology, not mine, but that, oh my God, this is going to be the Tila show, and it's going to be woke, and it's going to be this, that, and the other, and they're going to erase they're trying to sideline He-Man, and no matter how much Kevin Smith comes out and refutes, he's like, no, I did it, I worked on it, I should know, that's not what we're doing at all. There's still these rumors that persist, and I'm thinking, can we just two things? Tila was very prevalent in the 80s cartoon, in case anybody forgot.
Yep.
She's always been a strong badass, you know what I mean? So that would be nothing new. And, if there's a scenario where something happens in the battle between Skeletor and He-Man for a couple episodes, I don't think that this show is going to be devoid of He-Man. So I think that kind of persistent, whining should just put it out of your mind. If you're concerned, I wouldn't take anything that these people are spouting at face value. I think all you have to do is look at the material we're being presented. None of that looks, unfaithful or not true to the source material. So I don't know where this is, this is sprouting from, but I think it's just nonsense. And the other thing that Kevin Smith said that I think is worth noting is that this is one of this project is one that he's most proud of at this point in his career, and he said that if he is asked back to do it again, he already has a potential season 2 planned out. So let's hope this thing is a massive success, and let's watch it and let's make it a massive success, so that we'll be able to have future seasons. But I'm super excited, and I can't wait for this.
Well, to your previous point about Tila, I mean, you're right. She was always featured in the original series, but also there's nothing wrong with having a strong, badass female character.
Yeah.
My daughter will probably be watching this show with my son and me, most likely. And I hope that there's a character that she can gravitate towards and be like, hey, I like her. She seems really cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's, those types of things are important. The show is called Masters of the Universe. It's not called He-Man, but of course He-Man is going to be the main focus on the show. He has the sword and the power of Grayskull. Like, come on, guys. Everybody chill out.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better. But yeah, we're definitely super excited on this show about it, and haven't really.
Trailer, we see Orko about to use some magic powers. That's going to be cool. We see a little, a showdown between He-Man and Skeletor, where Skeletor like magics this big fist, this big green fist at.
I wonder if that's part of his transformation into
meet it with his
Skelegod.
punch. What's that?
I wonder if that's part of his transformation into Skelegod or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know, but man, it just the trailer was everything that I could have wanted this show to give me at this point, before it actually premieres, and I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Same. Super excited, and even though there's not much of a wait left, we do have the first issue of the prequel comic, as I alluded to, Masters of the Universe Revelation #1 from Dark Horse. It's got, let me see, the creative team is, let me pull it up here. We've got the credits. All right. So we've got Kevin Smith, Rob David, Tim Sheridan are on writing duties, and Mindy Lee is the artist with Rico Renzi and Darren Bennett doing colors and inking. So give us a bit of a rundown of what's happening in this comic, Chris.
Sure. King Randor is attacked by a creature called the Orlax, which results in King Randor being in a coma from which he can't awake. The Masters of the Universe believe that the attack by the Orlax has injected some type of venom into the king, which is keeping him asleep. The sorceress tells Superman that Superman, what?
He-Man. That's okay.
The sorceress tells He-Man that this isn't the first time that the Orlax has come into contact with the Sword of Power, that it's happened once before. So she creates a cosmic corridor allowing He-Man to go back in time to the previous time that the Orlax came into contact with the sword, so that hopefully they can learn something from that encounter in the past that will help them in the present to get their king out of his coma. The event in question is a battle between the original King Grayskull and the Orlax, which has infected one of his sons. He-Man learns that the connection between the Orlax and its victim is psychic rather than physical, and returns to the present with this knowledge. Let's see. We see a flashback of King Randor helping Prince Adam pick out his crown that he's going to wear to a party. And, it looks like he doesn't enjoy those type of princely duties. But when He-Man returns, he has a tentacle from the Orlax, which replicates and grows itself back into a full Orlax. So the sorceress attempts to establish a mind link with it to learn what she can do to get King Randor out of his coma. And we see at the end that Skeletor, being powered by Evil-Lynn, also has a link to the Orlax, but that link has been broken, and he says he wants to get it back because he was translating the Orlax's warning.
Interesting. Yeah. So, what is I really like how off the top this there are big stakes presented. You know, King Randor is incapacitated. You know, he's essentially in a coma. That really sets you on high alert that, you know, things are, you know, there's trouble brewing. I also like the mix of dealing with past, you know, lore of this universe, of this franchise, and the present day story. You know, like the flashbacks were well placed so that the exposition, the origins of the Sword of Power and King Randor, or King Grayskull, and also the Orlax, all that stuff, all that exposition did not detract the main story. It enhanced it. So I like the balance there. What are some of your thoughts?
I lean a little bit the other way. I could have done with a little less of the backstory and a little more, you know, like I said earlier, it's not called He-Man, it's called Masters of the Universe, but I felt like He-Man was on the sidelines in this issue, observing, you know, something else that was going on.
Yeah.
I did love that we got to see the Snake Men, which...
Yes.
I believe those only existed as toys. I don't think they were ever in the original cartoon, if I'm correct.
I think you're right about that, yeah.
But overall, I liked the story. I wish there was a little more present day and a little less of the flashback.
All right, fair. What did you think of King Grayskull himself? Because I don't know that. I think that was more of the 2000 reboot. That was dealt more in the 2000 reboot than it was in the original 80s cartoon. So this is more, like, I got more exposure of him here than I did before. And again, I did unfortunately see some talk online because, oh no, you know, King Grayskull has been you know, he's a person of color, and for some people that was the end of the world. And I'm like, okay, so like, who cares? Like, what's the big deal?
Could it possibly matter in terms of the story that they're telling?
Yeah, like, it doesn't change anything. And I guess maybe maybe some people were like, and do we even know, clarify this for me, I may be off base here, but is King Grayskull a ancestor of He-Man?
Okay, so I'm not exactly sure about that, but there is that line of dialogue in the story when King Randor is talking to Adam, and he's explaining that the ruler of Grayskull isn't passed to a champion; it gets passed to a prince.
Right.
So that seems like there's a line of succession that you have to be in this bloodline in order to be the king. Am I reading that incorrectly?
Yeah, that's what I got too. I was just a little bit, I was just unsure, and I was always thinking, well, this is why people are having their issue with King Grayskull being a person of color. But my easy explainer for that is, well, King Grayskull did have children who were mixed race. There was one that was a person of color, and one was not. So, because obviously his wife, I guess the queen at that point, was not a person of color. So there's your explanation. Like, it's simple. But again, goes back to, why is this an issue?
Right.
What did you think of the creature itself?
It was an interesting concept. You know, they said that the creature existed in two different dimensions at the same time. So you needed a weapon that would be able to pierce through the veil of time or whatever in order to kill it. And that creature ended up being the impetus for the creation of the Sword of Power. So I liked how that tied in. And yeah, it's an interesting creature. I'm guessing we'll be learning more about it, of course, in the next issue, because now they have one in captivity.
I did like the idea of like the detail of the creation of the Sword of Power. That was cool. How, you know, King Grayskull was in such dire straits that he had to go make a deal with, as the comic turns it, the devil, which I assume is an ancestor of Skeletor.
Well, so I think that devil creature was a toy called Scareglow.
Oh, was it? Is that Scarecrow? Is that who that is?
I think so.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Maybe you're right. You might be right about that. All right. Okay, then I'm wrong then. But either way, I thought it was, again, like, I love the explanation of the creation of the sword, and it kind of explains like the two halves thing, you know, idea, which is cool. And was it me, or because there was one point where He-Man's able to interact with King Grayskull and he helps save the other son?
Yep.
Because one son is killed and the other one is almost killed, but He-Man's intervention prevents that. And then He-Man basically says, something along the lines of, you should create a you know, a covering, you know, for the hull, right? Because this is, you're too overexposed. So that's where Castle Grayskull, like, we get an explanation for why Castle Grayskull looks the way it does.
Yep.
You know, to sort of
Man.
the Hall of Wisdom. That's it. And basically, He-Man says making something menacing. So you kind of get a sense of the inspiration for it.
Yeah, he says something menacing to frighten even the great Orlax of Primaria.
Now, isn't it kind of cool that there's one panel where it looks like the Orlax is gonna like just devour the king and his wife, right? And like he's got the mouth open with his teeth gnashing and all that. It kind of looks like the Castle Grayskull.
Yeah, with the fangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That could be an inspiration.
Yeah, that was a really cool. I'm like, hey, that now. Maybe that, because I always wondered, why would the cat, you know, like, why specifically that? Like, why does it look like that? But yeah. But, so yeah, overall, I really like the book. I get your complaint in terms of you wanted more He-Man, but I did like that we got some explanations.
Really a complaint. It's just,
Yeah.
you mentioned the flashbacks, and I would just like it a little bit in the other direction, but it doesn't really detract too much from it.
Sure.
Overall.
What did you think of the art?
Oh, I liked it.
I think it fits this world.
It was good coloring, really good shadow work, good facial features on most of the characters. I like the design of the Orlax, of the actual creature.
Yes, agreed.
I like the panel where King Grayskull says, "I have the power," and
that might have been my favorite panel. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was really cool. You see him being imbued with the power for the first time. And I like the artwork on Skeletor at the end. So I can't wait to see more of him, which, in the in the solicitation for the next issue, he looms very large on the cover.
Yeah, that splash page of Skeletor was pretty awesome. So yeah, those two images were probably my favorites. The one of King Grayskull saying "I have the power" and holding up the sword, and then the splash page with Skeletor all angry on his throne because he lost the connection with the Orlax. But
You know
is
what
there
the
anything else?
Orlac kind of reminds me of is the creatures in the Force Awakens. On
Oh,
Solo's ship,
yeah,
uh, with the tentacles and the mouth and all, but maybe all space tentacle creatures look the same.
a good point. Yeah, that was a cool look too. But is there anything else you want to mention before we go ahead and rate this one?
Uh, you know, um, Not really. Maybe let's hope for more Orko in the next one. I love me some Orko.
Yeah, that would be cool for sure. The other thing I just want to mention before I rate it, I liked the struggle that He-Man was having finally after all this time of like, I want to be able to tell everyone that I'm He-Man, that I'm Prince Adam, right? And the sorceress is like, no, you can't do that. All you're going to do is be putting them in more danger, right? So,
Yeah, he thinks his dad is going to die, never having known his secret, and that's going to be pretty big.
but I
You know,
like that it's
burden.
something that he's finally starting to think about, you know. Um, so I I thought that was an interesting development for his character for sure. I don't remember too many times in the original '80s series where he went back and forth with the prospect of revealing the truth about himself. So it was an interesting added layer of um, sort of thought and questioning for him, and sort of turmoil to add to his internal turmoil. Like that's not something he can punch away or swat with his sword. It's like that would weigh heavily on him emotionally and mentally. So it was nice to see that more layers to the character, which is nice.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it adds a wrinkle to the character that I think is important, especially in 2021. It's the age of superheroes, and secret identities are a big part of that. And to me, He-Man is a superhero. When I was a kid, he was every much a superhero as Superman or Batman. And his Prince Adam was just like their Bruce Wayne or Clark Kent. So I really hope they explore, like you bring up, his thoughts and his struggle with that.
yeah, and even his father in that whole discussion, is talking about that. Where he's like, if He-Man were ruler, he'd have to. The only way he could do it is disguise himself. That goes. That's fleshing that out a bit more. So I think we will see more of that. But yeah, overall, really strong issue. So give us your rating.
I'm gonna go probably on story. I'd say a 4.5 out of 5. I want a little more present day and maybe a little more He-Man or not He-Man versus Skeletor, but maybe a little more Skeletor. He's obviously the main villain, and
Yeah,
we got him only at the very end.
yeah,
Overall, I really enjoyed the story and artwork. Probably the same, a 4.5 out of 5. I really liked the time travel effect when He-Man was going backwards and forwards in time, and it looked kind of like psychedelic. That was
yeah.
really cool. I like all the character design. Um, I like I like seeing Snake Mountain. That was pretty cool. Not quite a 5 for me because to me a 5 is something like The Last Ronin, and I don't put this art up there with that one. That's just to me in a different level, but
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I
it's
understand.
good.
Yeah, cool. For me, I'm gonna say story 4.5. Like I said, I mean, we were pretty much on the same page. Slight difference on the thoughts on the flashback slightly, but overall we had the same vibe. For the art, I'm gonna go 4. So I liked it a lot, but again, maybe some more Skeletor, and I want to see more of Battle Cat in action, and then maybe it'll be higher. But so yeah, 4.5 for story and 4 for the art. Overall, great start, and I'm definitely curious to see where it goes for sure. And they hooked me right off the bat with the time travel because I'm a sucker for time travel stories. So there's that as well. But we'll be back with another episode soon. We haven't really discussed exactly how we're going to work it out, but we will in terms of the comic and the show. But we'll figure something out, and we'll be back probably doing a review of one each, depending on or we'll do the show. We'll see. We haven't worked it out, but we'll be back, and of course we're going to cover the show on this channel, and we're going to continue. What's that?
I said, oh yes, we will.
Yeah, and we're also going to finish off covering the comic naturally. So lots more to come. But in the meantime, Chris, if they want to continue to, if our listeners want to continue the Masters of the Universe discussion with you in terms of the comic or when the show eventually drops, where do they do that?
Well, I will definitely be talking about this show on Twitter. You can find me there at Chris N. Harrelson. And when we post about it in the Facebook group, you can, reply to the post, and we'll reply as well.
Absolutely. And if you want to chat with me, it's at Adam_Leafs fan on Twitter. The show has its own channel, which is or Twitter handle, which is at MMNPDC. We also have a Facebook page, which is listed in the link, the links in the description. Click the link, ask for permission to join, and I will add you. But until next time, we want you to remember that 2 things. You have the power, and also that He-Man is forever. From the first time he goes back into the past and interacts with King Grayskull to the last. So long, everybody, and good journey.
Bye, everyone.
Skeletor. It's over.
Yes. For you.
By the power of Grayskull.